Welcome back to my channel called Zuzanareacts, where I learn all things parallel with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. And today's video is going to be a part 2 of a billionaire in India, as I like to think about it, that we've mentioned in the previous video, and I'm super curious to actually continue. So we left off where Fabian is about to explain why actually Indian market is easy for foreigners. So before we jump into today's video,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
Let's not waste any more time. We still have a lot to go through, so let's continue.
It's honestly something that Indians love hearing, because Indians love hearing foreigners talk about India. But I don't know how much the world knows about what you're saying. Because when I go abroad and I talk to people about expanding the businesses in India, they always say something like, yeah, but we're not able to understand the Indian mind completely.
No, most of the world don't understand, because so our company, we do 400 million turnover, 550 this year. India, we were doing 5 million. So when I said I will go to India because I bet on this country, people would say, well, we do 5 million on this country, but and we do 500 in the group. So why would we focus? But it's because people don't see the opportunity. If you do it right, you can. I mean, the biggest companies in the world, like Tata, 700,000 employees. It's crazy, huh? The largest in Belgium is probably us with 2,000, 3,000 employees, 4,000, but only 1,500 in Belgium.
You're the largest Belgian software company?
Software for sure, and one of the largest companies. Every sector.
You're one of the largest companies in Belgium, and the founder of that company has moved
probably one of the most valued too. Well, at least in the top 10 most valued.
You're a multi-billionaire European founder who's moved to Gandhinagar.
Yes. That's why my friend calls me the slumdog billionaires.
How does it feel being a billionaire?
It's not like people think. In my bank account, I'm not rich. In my bank account, I don't have a lot of money in my pocket because everything I own is just shares of a company. It's just the value of a do that is big, and because I'm the main shareholder. But it's like I have money to spend. I'm not buying big cars. I'm not buying big houses. I live in a very small house in Gandhinagar, actually. So it's not like people think. My richness is to have a great company, which is Odoo. And I don't plan to sell my shares, so it's not like I will convert that into cash. I will always keep it that way.
You'll just want to grow business for the sake of business.
I love it. Like, he's just so nice and humble. This is what I like. I like with people that have a lot of money. They're usually super humble, which is always so refreshing to see. But let's continue.
Yeah, because there is nothing less interesting. There is nothing more interesting than that. I mean, I could go to the beach, or I could go to. That's boring. In the other hand, I can change people the life of people at work. I could have an impact of millions of people doing great software where they reward us every day, telling you how software is good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, that is great. It's much better than what I could afford with money.
If you have a son?
Yes.
If your son comes up to you and says, hey, billionaire dad, I want a Ferrari, what are you going to tell him?
No, I would say, get the money to buy it yourself.
Are you, in your will, are you going to give all your money to your kids?
I will give them a company, not money.
You'll give them the company?
Yes.
And then it's for them to do.
If I die. When I die.
I find you, I'm saying this as a compliment.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're very eccentric. You're like a crazy guy.
Like, not sure. But,
no, I mean, coder to founder to pivoting to almost going bankrupt. Yeah. And then you're a multi-billionaire now and you choose to live in Gandhinagar.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all about the experience. I mean, living in a country you don't know, learning from a new culture, new people, is way more interesting than driving a new car.
Go on.
Yeah, it's for me, it's all about the experience. And there is also something I'm convinced about is, what makes happiness. People think money makes happiness, but I think it's not what you have that makes happiness. It's how you evolve. So if you are here, you get that, you're super happy. Or if you are here, you get that, you're super happy. But when you are there, what do you do to be very happy? You cannot buy more cars, more houses. It doesn't work. So it's good also sometimes to level, to slow down or decrease your quality of life, so that you don't get used to big richness and so on, and you get very happy. When I come back to Belgium and I eat meat, super happy because I eat veg for months, or
as in your expectations from life are very simple.
Yeah, and if your expectation is low, it's the best way to be happy in life.
Damn. How do you look at money? What is money for you?
It's a mean. For me, money is a mean to develop a bigger business.
Like, it's a means to
a goal. And for me, the goal is to develop a bigger business, and so that we can do software that helps more and more companies. So money is very important. I need to. That's why we focus on selling and things like that. But not as a goal in itself, but as a mean to develop the software we want to develop.
Okay.
It cannot be the other way, because if your goal is to make money, you won't be happy, or you want to exceed your goal. But if your goal is to make a great product, then if your product becomes great, then money will flow.
Damn.
And that I learned from them.
What did you learn?
To be more pushy.
You need to be more pushy.
Yes, Indians are very pushy. When they negotiate very, very hard. Even in weddings, they play, this negotiation game during weddings. You get the shoe of the bride and you have to buy it back. Everywhere they negotiate.
And specifically Gujarat, I think, is a negotiation center of India.
Maybe it's Gujarat, yes.
They have the best business skills. Them and Marwadis. These are the two communities which are known as the business communities in India.
No, they are very good at negotiation, and it's good. It's useful for all our activities, actually.
Suppose you go back to Europe or America, you'll be using these Gujarati negotiation skills there.
Yeah, I will train the team there.
But you'll be...
it's already done, because, when you have a group of different countries, they all work together. So initially, I asked a Belgian team to train Indians. For instance, the influencer marketing team, the Belgian team trains the Indians, how we proceed. And then they do call together, and then they notice that the Indian person is negotiating way better than them. So they learn from the code. And working together, we all learn from the strengths of the other, which is good.
Yeah, which is why in club football, every player has different nationalities. Everyone brings their own strengths to the table. Yeah. Do you look at international business expansion in the same way that Indians have a role to play in international businesses, but they should be played to their strengths?
Yes. We have a big company in Dubai, 600 people, something.
Wow.
The director comes from Gujarat too. He went there, and so the way we do what to do is that we have a rule. Every employee can switch from one company to another country if he has 2 years experience. He just have to ask, and we say okay, and he can work in any country of the group. That way, we push people to travel and discover and learn from that experience.
And which countries are you spread in?
We are in San Francisco, Buffalo, United States, Dubai, Mexico, Spain, Italy, Germany, Australia, Belgium, of course, Hong Kong. I probably missed a few.
How are you so humble after building all this?
I don't know.
Do you look at yourself as humble?
I don't look at the past. I don't care too much about what we built. What I do focus on is what we should build. If you look at the today, even though it's exploding, we are the best management software you can get on the market, growing like crazy. It's still 1% of the market, 0.1% of the market. Market is so big. Every company in the world, small to large, every industries, we are still 0.1% of the market. So when I look at it, I am not saying we succeeded. I'm looking at it like we do 0.1% of the market. Or we got to that, from that to 5%. And so I'm focusing more on the future, what we should do and continue to do in order to keep this growth rather than what we have succeeded.
Man, I'm really enjoying talking to you, genuinely. Like, I'm glad I get to do this for a living. I was telling you, I have a great job,
Meeting people.
Yeah, but how often do you meet a European billionaire who's staying in India? And there's so many questions I just want to ask you for myself about your life, about business lessons, about what we can do better, because I truly believe that Indians who can speak good English should be thinking about selling their stuff abroad. There's a lot that our country can sell abroad, but in order to sell abroad, we need to understand the foreigner mind much more. How do you look at India? How have you sold things here? This is a very important business conversation. So this is a conversation I would have with you anyway. So I appreciate the time you're giving, because I am 100% sure you're a very busy guy. But you're coming to Mumbai for a day, speaking to me. I don't even feel like I'm talking to like a 44-year-old guy. I feel like I'm talking to a guy who's just my age, and you're talking like a brother. So no, thank you.
It's good.
Thank you for being so open. Firstly, what's been the most fun thing you've done in India?
I think building a business is fun. Yeah, really, it's lots of problem-solving challenges. It's setting up things. It's creative. It's so the best I did is to hyperscale the company.
In India?
Yes.
The scaling has been the most fun thing.
Yes.
So, okay, let me reframe the same question. When you first got here, in the first week and in the first month, what were your set of learning? So what did you learn in your first week about this country? What did you learn in your first month?
So the first week, when you want to transform a company, first week you just learn. You work with people. You learn who they are, who are the best, who we can leverage to make the company scale, what are the weaknesses, what are the strengths, so that you can rely on. So I would say the first weeks, I didn't do a lot of things. I just worked with people, helped them on small details, but it was more a process of learning for me.
You understood your teammates.
Yes.
Correct to say? And you were trying to absorb what situation you're in.
Yes, you help them when you know things, but it's better to more listen than talking. And after that, then I can replicate all the good practice we had to do. And some of them I had to adapt because it didn't work in the Indian market. Others, I just replicated what I used to do in other companies, and it worked here.
Like what? Can you break that down? Both the ones that didn't work and the ones...
For instance, one of our marketing strategy had to do is to do what we call roadshows. It's events in different cities. And when I arrived here, our roadshow had like 40 attendees, which is nothing. When we do roadshows in Africa, we have thousands of people. In Europe, we have thousands of people. And we had 40 on such a big country, on large cities, it didn't work. So I did the usual marketing tactics, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, mass mailing, and so on. And then I went to 600 attendees. I was like, start to be good, okay. And I came to the management, very proud of me.
Were they coming to meet you?
No, it's not me. It's or salespeople who do demonstration of the product, the Odoo community, work together, presentation of customers, and things like that.
So you use digital to create a community online?
Yeah, we already have a big community to do. We leverage this community and try to bring more people. And we do events that are on site in big cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Pune.
But it was a community gripped through social media.
Yes.
LinkedIn.
Because I had too few people when we started. I had to do advertising to bring more attendees to our events.
This is performance advertising you did?
Yes.
On Facebook,
LinkedIn, and so on.
Use our product.
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
The ones who use or potentially will use the product. So I did that. I scaled that, and it went well. We went to 600 registered attendees. I thought it was very good, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then only 120 people show off. Went to the event. Actually came. So the no-show was huge, like 80% no-show.
Like 600 people signed up for the event, but only
120 came. And so that's where I noticed that in India it's different. You have to do way more. And that's something I learned when I was looking for an apartment or house for me, is that you have booking with people to visit houses, and 50% of the time they just don't come. You arrive, nobody's there. You have to call 1 hour before to say, I'm coming, I'm here, and then they come. And so I worked on how can we improve so that more than 20% of the attendees come. And so we started with WhatsApp, and that worked very well. We did.
Okay, can I just I'm still in shock. Like, how can you not? Can you please talk to me about this mentality? So, yeah, I know I have mentioned to you the book called Culture Map, and what I've learned there about Indian culture is that your time is very flexible, which is not so much a Western time, but different cultures have different notions of time. Like Latin America is also very flexible. So I would not even dream of not coming on time and and having to call to confirm. So I would love to know, the concept of time in India. Like, how is business being done? Because let's say you're at work and you're booking something. So you have your calendar, like 9 till 10, I have this appointment, and 10 till 11, I have another one. Then I have a window for lunch, etc. So for me, it is personally very disrespectful if I would, not follow it, but clearly it is thought of in a different way. So I would love to know, like, how that works. And also in his example, like, why would someone just not show up? Why would you have to call them an hour in advance? And I think that's just a huge cultural difference where I would actually find it exceptionally, but you can't even imagine how exceptionally disrespectful I would find it. Whereas for you it's normal, right? Like it's a different culture. So I would love to know for you to let me know where this is coming from. It is truly, truly fascinating for me, but let's continue.
Did reminder 1 hour before the event, 1 day before the event, SMS marketing, and that works very well. And that's the kind of things where I learned in India, because I was not using WhatsApp in Belgium, but here everybody uses it. Oh. And so now that we automated reminder, we had way more people do roadshows. And I learned that from India. We put that in the product. So now Odoo has WhatsApp in all the applications in standard. For the point of sale, when you have tickets, you receive the tickets on WhatsApp. Bill, you receive your bill or invoice on WhatsApp. Events, you have your registration notification on WhatsApp, everything. And then it helps all other countries too, because we deployed that in Latin America, worked very well too. We deployed it in Africa. They love WhatsApp too. It worked very well because I learned it from India.
You know the word.
Okay, stop. Why WhatsApp? What is it with WhatsApp? There are other applications. You have Telegram, you have Signal. Don't you guys also have some sort of maybe Indian kind of similar type of application? What's with the WhatsApp? Do let me know. I'm actually quite curious.
But empathy is like understanding someone else's emotions.
Yes.
I feel that in a business person's career, somewhere after you gain some success, there'll be a point where you begin to lose a little empathy because business makes you very dry and mathematical.
Yeah.
And you have to just like self-correct. I've seen this with a lot of business folks I've had on the show as well. A lot of them say that the biggest mistakes were a point where they overvalued what they were trying to sell, or they were trying to chase money too hard. And even here, I mean, 3 layers deep, we boiled it down to the same.
It's usually a mistake I don't do, but that time I did it. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. How do you look back at your 20s? Because you're 44, you have a nice family life, you have a good like material life, your company is doing well, Europe's one of Europe's youngest billionaires. How do you look back at your 20s?
I feel like it's the same for me. Like when I was 20, my focus was I want to build the best software. Today, my focus is I want to build the best software. And things changed, of course. But the strategy, the long-term vision, what I like to do, what I do remains. I still spend the majority of my time making sure that Odoo is much better than the competitor, improving the software. It's still the same. I'm still doing what I like. It's even better now because when you are small, like 50 people, you have to deal more with HR stuff. When you are big, you can delegate the HR stuff and focus on really what matters. So it's a bit better even for me now.
Which is the product.
Yes.
The product
or the company. The culture, the improving. So I focus on if we transition, we have to change the department or that's the reason why I came to India, a big transition for the company. So I focus about things that bring value to the company.
Why did you choose Gujarat in India?
I didn't choose Gujarat. So when you create, we launched a lot of companies. We did Odoo in Mexico, Spain, Italy, Buffalo, and so on and so on. The key to succeed a new company is not the location. The key is the director. This is the most important thing. You can have a good director in a bad location, it will work. You can have a good location, average director, it's going to be painful. And so the way we work, it's always about people. The way we work when we want to open a new company is never to say we want to go there or there. It's more about who is the best guy we have in the company that we can leverage to create a company with.
So you had a bunch of employees in Europe and America, and you pick out like one of the best.
So the way it works is I was working with a French company who had this subsidiary in India. And I was working with them, and then I worked with Mantavia, our director at the time there. He's still the director today. And I noticed that this guy is very good. And so I wanted to do something with him and say, okay, let's create a company. So we discussed with this French company. I acquired 50% of the shares, and then the totality, because we split, I get the totality. But it was not about Gujarat. It was about Mantavia. If there was these guys that I would say, okay, he's good enough, we can build something with it. And it's always the same. We have a company in Buffalo. Nobody goes to Buffalo.
New York.
It's in the state of New York, but it's not New York. It's way above. Nobody goes there. You go to Silicon Valley, San Francisco, New York, Boston, but not in Buffalo. It's like a desert city, old industrial city. Where we get there because of the director. Nick, our director there, is super good. We wanted to do something with him because he came from Buffalo. Okay, let's go to Buffalo. And it turns out it was a very good decision. It's amazing to have an office there, but it was all about the people, not about the location.
So your key to expanding business, especially internationally, is actually great leadership. You pick out the best team captains.
Because execution is stronger than strategy. Execution is about having the right guy that can make it happen. Is stronger than having better market or strategy. Strategy is important, but execution is much more important.
Because I think strategy is built out of feedback.
Yeah, and strategy can evolve. If you have someone who is capable of making things happen, transforming companies, he will evolve with strategy.
So your director chose Gujarat?
So I chose a director. He lived in Gujarat. And because he lived there, we created a company in his student room. And now he's managing 650 people.
How old is this guy?
I think he's less than me, 40.
He's 40 years old?
Yes.
Okay.
Working with me since 16 years.
Oh, wow.
And you met him where? In Europe?
No, I came to India. I met him online because I worked with this French partner and we initially worked on some tasks together online. And then I came to meet him in India.
And you prioritized his comfort?
Yes. But I didn't know about anything. I didn't know about the other cities. All I knew is that, okay, I have a good guy there. Let's use it.
Damn. Do you know what analysis paralysis is?
No.
Analysis paralysis means you analyze so much that you don't end up doing anything. Like, you're just thinking about the problem, but you're not actually solving it.
Yes.
This is the polar opposite. You're someone who believes in doing things first and then figuring.
Yes. There is another way there is a good book from an Indian, actually. How is it called? It's I forget the name. Sorry.
What's it? Business?
No, it's rational thinking versus. I forget, but I can explain the concept. You have two types of managers. Some manager will define the goal. Let's say you want to create a restaurant. I will do you will do market analysis. I will do a restaurant in this area, maybe a Chinese restaurant, and I will design the menu, and it's going to be at that price. And then it will cost that much money. So I will find fund, and then I will recruit people, and then. So some people work that way. They start with defining a goal, and then from the goal, they decide if it's what we call traditional manager, MBA style manager. I don't work that way at all. I work the opposite. I don't look at where I go because that changes. I cannot predict the future. I look at what I have. I look at my environment. Maybe I have a good deal to have a restaurant location there. I will jump there. And then I will try to leverage everything I have. Maybe I know a chef which is super good. He's not Chinese, but he's Indian. So I will do an Indian restaurant. And the way I work is more on that, is to optimize my path to optimize to the ultimate goal. But I don't define the goal because I don't think it's possible. For instance, I never do budget in over 2 years. I know it's not possible. What I do is to optimize how we spend money to be sure it's the most efficient possible. So I start from what I have, I optimize, and I ensure we get the best outcome out of it. but I cannot predict. I don't start for the prediction because it creates constraint that you probably don't want.
Puts pressure.
Yeah.
Rather, just focus on the process and do
It's more about top-down rather versus bottom-up versus top-down.
It's a very interesting concept. I'll just stop here for a second because I do think that I get where he's coming from. However, I would love to know, because for me, I think it's important to have a vision. I don't think that you have to have defined 5 or 10 years, but I think you should have at least an idea, and the vision can change, right? I think that's why he's saying that he rather doesn't look that far ahead. But I think it's important to have understanding what you want to achieve, like where you're aspiring to go, because there goes a saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But I think that his definition, perhaps, from what I can distill, is like to provide the best service or the best product. It doesn't matter, but even that is a vision in itself. It's clearly is very successful with that. I would personally always have to think from, like to have an end in mind, and that's kind of a lot of what the West teaches. And if you look at Simon Sinek, he talks about having the end in mind. I think personally, I do believe it's super important, but clearly, obviously, we can do things. We're all different. We all, work in a different manner. But it's fascinating to see how he thinks about it.
You believe in bottom up much more.
Yes.
Gotcha.
You have to mix, and you still need a vision. But yes, I don't think like market analysis, business plan, budget planning. I don't think these kind of things are useful.
Interesting.
In India specifically, is your main market in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore?
It's widely spread.
All over.
Yeah, even in the world, our biggest market is the US, but we only do 15% of our revenues in the US. So it's very much spread on a lot of different countries.
Let's first speak about India. I want to know about your world game also. But in India, so your team is sitting out of Gandhinagar.
Yes.
And they're selling across India.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that has been smooth for you? Or do you think that if you moved to Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore, you'd get better results for this country?
The location is not that. So what matters on the location for me? Most of the thing when we sell to small and mid-sized company, it's over the phone or video conference.
Right.
So you don't need to be physically present. So what matters? To have good engineers. You have good engineers and very good engineers. You have also elsewhere, but there you have very good engineers. The good thing is in Gandhinagar or Ahmedabad that you don't have Google, Apple, IBM there. So you can actually get the good engineers, which is more difficult if you go to the Indian Silicon Valley, like Mumbai, Bangalore, and Delhi. Mm-hmm. So for that, it's very good. And you need good retention. Because in order to build for the long time, you need people to stay a long time in the company, which is a challenge sometimes in India. How do you get good retention? Good salaries. You have to pay 20-30% above the market because it's very important for Indians. And 2, less competition on the market. And 3, good working environment, good culture, and so on. And I believe that for this, Gujarat is very good. You have less pressure of competitors on the IT market. You still have a strong universities for engineers. And salaries are a bit lower than what you can get in Mumbai or Delhi, which allows you to easily pay above market.
Yeah. And here, I think there's also a massive problem we face is rent for
yes, and then for the employees, cost of living, of course, is lower.
Therefore, salaries are way higher also.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I never in my wildest dreams thought that someone like you would be staying in Gandhinagar and building out your business.
No, and the biggest mistakes I did, I created a company in San Francisco. A big mistake. Because it's a tier 1 city, you are next to Google, Apple, Microsoft. How can you recruit the best engineers next to these guys? And the cost of living is so high that a big mistake. I did it after in Buffalo, super good. And so now we have a rule to do is we never go to tier 1 cities. We always go to tier 2 cities because that's where we can have a better retention of the employees.
No one's ever said that on this show.
They should. And I get some. I remember when we have a few investor VCs in the board, and so they did a big market analysis for us. What are the best cities to put the second office in the US? And they came with a list of 50, and Buffalo was not even in the list. And I said, no, we will go to Buffalo. And why? Because we have a director. Not because of Buffalo. At the time, I didn't care about Buffalo. All I cared was it could not be a tier 1 city. It has to be a tier 2, and the director decided the city.
You're re-teaching me a lot of the business things that I thought I knew. I had like a way I looked at business. Yeah. But what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. If you create a company in San Francisco, you will suffer. Super high salaries, high rent, engineers not available. It's better to go to smaller cities.
Yeah. I'm asking you this because you're also a software developer yourself. Mm-hmm. Like you actually coded in your life. Mm-hmm. how good is the quality of coders in San Francisco versus the rest of the world? Like, are they significantly better?
No, I think I'm pretty sure Belgium is even better. Yeah, or at least it's comparable.
India?
A bit lower.
Bit lower.
The average. You could get very good guys in India. Huh? They are very good engineers, developers. But if you take average versus average, India is a bit lower.
Average versus average?
India is a bit lower than Belgium.
But you've seen a few stars in India.
But the good thing is when you are in Gujarat, that you can pick the top 1% or the 0.1%, and these guys are very good.
These guys are comparable to San Francisco coders?
Yeah, so we don't do research and development in San Francisco. So we don't do development. We only do development for customer service. So the only two research and development center we have is Belgium and India.
Okay, your best Indian coders, how do they compare to your best Belgian coders?
A bit lower.
Bit lower.
Yes.
Like the Belgian guys like a little bit more.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's all about education, the quality of the universities.
Do you see it changing in India?
Yes, for sure. What surprised me is that the school for my kids, but it's 10 to 12 years. It's, as I said, better than what we get in Belgium. So at least there are some schools that are much better. So it's improving a lot, yeah.
Like I have some cousins who live in Delhi. They're a lot younger than me. They're probably 16 years old now, 17 years old now. I remember when they were in the 5th and 6th grade, they were in a good school. So they were learning product design in the 5th grade. I learned product design when I was 25 years old.
Yeah.
Myself from YouTube. I didn't have it as a subject. And when you talk to them, they're way smarter than like what we were at that age.
That's good. Yeah, I think it's the new generation will bring a lot to the Indian market.
Yeah. But you know, this is like the top 1% in terms of income in India.
Yeah, but these are the ones that matter. The top 1% will drive everything to the top.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes, the best way on poor country, the best way for poor countries, inequalities are very good to make poor countries goes out of being poor because the top is driving the bottom to the top. So, yeah.
So the guys at the top actually need to then stay back in India and then lift the rest of the country.
You need entrepreneur, you need successful companies in order to generate business and work for it.
So I believe this is it for the end of the video. As you can see, I had to change the camera because it died on me. I kept on chatting away and I realized it's not being recording. How fabulous. Right. So I have a couple of points for the part 2 that I wanted to mention. Indians being pushy. What is that about? I want to know. I'm going to India. Please let me know. I presume this is a haggling culture. And people like from my part of the world, we don't really like to haggle. We're just like, give me the price and I'm just going through this life if I pay for it or not. Right. So if you could give me some tips, because I am actually going to India, that would be greatly appreciated. And then what I really like what he was talking about, like when you join a company, first learn. And I think it's just such an important thing. And it's also for my personal career. I feel like, and I've seen this before, like when you are younger in your 20s, you have this more like a egoistic self. You think that you sometimes do shit and you know better, but the thing is that it's not quite a true, right? Like when you're joining and you're coming to something new, you really need to understand what you're dealing with. And I don't even think a week is enough. It depends. I'm sure like he was just saying a week for an illustrative type of purposes. So to me, it's I completely agree with what he's saying. You need to really understand that. So and what really sparked my attention, and he said after a week he was implementing another marketing strategy. And so I worked on a project where it's an African market, and what I have discovered through research and that I've outsourced was that Africans, I guess similarly as Indians, don't quite like the Western world because they come with the solutions. So I think that perhaps UK and US might be the guilty of that. That they think, we're going to fix that problem or do that. I'm talking about more like a corporate social responsibility initiatives or in the third world countries, and then when they leave, they don't work. So I think that I would love to know if that's kind of your perception as well, because we got a lot of insight around that, and it was very interesting. So every time something was implemented, it was working while the Westerners were there, but at a point where they left, it didn't work anymore. So it's quite fascinating to learn about your point of view and your views on this one, because I know that was the mentality. The whole thing about WhatsApp, I'm just super curious to know, like, as everyone in India uses WhatsApp, is there no other alternative? Now, another thing is what he talks about, when you make it, you lose empathy. I think I've been observing that as well. It's like but the thing here is I think that the reason why it happens, at least what I've distilled. So the Western world is very much about the profit and how to make a profit. And, like, you're only going to get, and it's just so bottom line that, employees naively, quote unquote, think that people should care about them and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the CEO is, and especially if you have, for example, this guy has venture capitalists, the only thing they will ever really care about is the profit. Like, that is the bottom line. That's kind of hardcore core capitalism, if you like, right? So to be able to achieve to a certain level, you need to disassociate your emotions from everything else, which I feel like what he's saying is not really good, because maybe then if you're successful, you get a bit bullish and you perhaps are not listening to people that are around you. That's kind of how I see it. And that kind of ties into the topic where he talks about, it was really fascinating and I love it. And he's a billionaire, and I love that a billionaire is saying that, because to me, the number one thing that a company succeeds is definitely the people that you pick, and then how well you're able to integrate and educate them. That is a number one thing. And I don't think I've seen one, and I'm working in a number of companies by now. I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that realization. People are resources, they're disposable. And, like, obviously, there shouldn't be hard feelings, like people want to move and join different companies, and that's all well and nice. But the success of a company depends on, I do believe, a leader. And I'll tell you a story. So last year I've been to a conference about, what was it about? Like, it was more European based. It was about, like, I don't know, it had various topics from smart cities to upskilling, etc. And I have chatted with a guy. I don't know if you are aware of the company called Slido. Slido is actually a Slovak company. And we talked with one of the founders. There are many. I think there are 6 or 7 founders, and one of them have left. So there's like a main founder, and there are other ones. And they were like friends from school that decided that they're going to do a project. So he told me the whole story. It was a really nice conversation. That particular guy is doing something completely else right now. He decided to do some other things he's personally passionate about. And we were talking about the leadership and how leadership is super, super important. And so I'm not going to name who that person is or whatever. And hopefully no one from Slovakia is going to see this. But the thing is, it's about who you are as a leader and how good you are as a person. It actually finally comes down to a person. I've been thinking about this concept for a really long time, because in the West, I don't know how it is in India, if you follow like any kind of leadership trainings, etc. But what many people do not realize, and I find it just quite odd, at least, when I follow LinkedIn or, I see the conversation, no one is talking about it, and I feel like I need to start, is that the quality of leader depends on you, right? Like, you're bringing your whole self to work. So what happens when you're in senior level positions is that your strengths and weaknesses are going to be magnified. So this is why, when I told you guys that I'm a life coach, etc. And I don't think that people realize that leadership is majorly hard. And if you really want to be a good leader, it almost like you have to be a good person for whatever that means. But for you to be able to deal with the pressures that come from those roles and the ability to grow and maintain a company, it is a lot of self-work. And you really need to understand who you are and who you want to be and how you act and what are the behaviors that serve you and what are the behaviors that do not serve you. So again, it really just comes down to what are the kind of person that you are. And I think what he's saying, Like I find quality people, and the quality people are going to develop then another quality people, and then I'm able to retain the stuff, and I'm going to build further. So by far, like if you're aspiring entrepreneur or you work for a company, you want to be in a senior role, it is a really, no one talks about it because I feel like it's a concept that, I don't know, how people are just trying to disassociate. Like you create a different persona, and in a way it's like an avatar of yourself. Like there's Zuzana at work, and there's Zuzana doing the YouTube channel, and there's Zuzana being out with her friends, and there's Zuzana being out with her family, etc. So but you really need to have a strong sense of who you are. And I feel like if you don't have that, and if you're not aware, and the awareness is never-ending game, right? Like it always goes on, and this is why, funny enough, when I started to, so I always wanted to study psychology. I was told that I couldn't, and then throughout my life, as I was on my journey, I've read a random article about a guy who was actually a football like executive and so on, and he said, like me, just like many other like senior people, have our coach. This is how we actually get results. So and this kind of, that was years ago now, more than 10 years, and that kind of sparked my interest in life coaching, because it's kind of, you don't really have to do a psychology degree, but I do have a minor in psychology because I'm a teacher anyway. And yeah, so it's kind of like that he talked about, and fascinated me, because there's a person that will help you with your awareness and help you drive ahead as a business owner. And the biggest work that you will ever do is the work on yourself, and that is what's going to push you forward. So that in the US, I think he was the US or European, but so it is not uncommon that people, like successful business owners, they have their own coaches. So that is, I think, very important to mention, because you do need to grow and you do need to evolve. And I'm just looking at yeah, if there was anything else that I wanted to add, and I think that they've covered other things during the video. So I think I'll just leave this video here. So thank you guys so much for watching this video with me. If you did enjoy the part 2, please give it a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you in the part 3 very, very soon. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending much, much love. Bye-bye.